Hey everybody, my name is Panuganti, and today we're going to be talking about collaborations. Now, collaborations, or collabs for short, are just any scenario where two or more people work together, usually to create some sort of finished product or get some sort of work effort done. Now, in the context of my channel, I'm going to talk to you guys about collaborations with musicians, videographers, artists, story writers, and things that I've experienced, and hopefully I can pass on 5 cool steps to get you guys making collabs and making them even better than you might have been before. Now, I'm gonna share 5 steps with you guys that I think will summarize the collaboration experience and maybe help out some of you who aren't sure if you are collaborating as efficiently, if you're scared to ask someone to collaborate, if you don't know how to go about doing it, or maybe you've had some bad collaboration experiences and want to see if there's a better way to go about doing it. Step number 1 is going to be ask yourself, why collaborate? There's some really good reasons to collaborate, so consider maybe asking someone who plays an instrument that you don't own, or that you can't play or can't play well. Maybe you can't record it, or they have a better version of the instrument or the quality that you prefer. There's a lot of people who own cameras and are into videography but don't make music videos. Maybe you can work with someone like that to create the perfect vision, and that way you don't have to go out and buy your own camera. There's other great reasons to collaborate as well. This could allow you to focus on other aspects. For example, if I have someone else filming me, then I don't have to worry about maybe editing or framing the shots, and I can focus on just the music portion. Same thing goes for if I'm doing album artwork. I could hire someone to do it or collaborate with someone on it, and this way I don't have to worry about making it, and I can put that time into the music or put that time into the arrangement. Another reason that I do see a lot of people wanting to collaborate with that I wanted to bring up is that you shouldn't collaborate just because you want to work with someone who has more fame, more significance in the music or other industry, or because you feel like it might be some sort of gateway to exploding your channel. It's going to shift your expectations of the entire collaboration. It can be very uncomfortable to work with someone who's just in it to get something superficial like fame or subscribers in YouTube's case. That being said, I don't think it's necessarily wrong that these are side effects of what happened or even a draw to it, but I don't think it should be your entire focus or goal if you want to make a product that you're proud of, that both people will enjoy making. Inexperience is another factor that may make it harder to collaborate. The thing is that, of course, if you're not used to making art or making music or whatever you do, you may have trouble working with someone else to do it. That being said, I don't think this should ever stop you from working with someone of a different skill level. Get your hands dirty and see what kind of portfolio you can make for yourself. That way, a collaborator will be able to tell what you like, what you don't like, your style, what you're able to do, and maybe even what you're not able to do yet. And that way you can come to some sort of agreement. There are going to be professionals who will not want to collaborate just because working with a beginner may hinder their timeline, their work schedule, it may affect how their income works, and there's all sorts of factors. Always be respectful of someone's decision whether or not they want to collaborate with you. Now, of course, we've been talking as if you're about to ask someone, but guess what? You might get asked too, and you also have a decision to make. Do you want to work with this person? Do you want to work on their idea? If you don't like their idea, you can say no. You can literally just say no thank you. Be polite and courteous, of course, but you don't have to say yes to everything. And I am incredibly hypocritical for saying this, but you don't have to say yes to everything. You can say no thank you, maybe a different project, or if you just happen to not want to work with the person, it doesn't matter the reason. You don't need to justify it, just say no thank you. Step number 2, reach out. Now that you've already figured out, yes, I want to collaborate, or yes, I want to collaborate with him, her, them. I know this is weird, but asking someone to collaborate is a little bit like asking someone out on a date. You need to be incredibly respectful, tactful, and okay with whatever the result is. The first step I would say is, if you're new to collaborating, check out Pixel Mixers. Reddit.com/r/VGcovers is a subreddit that I co-created in order to help people find collaborators, help people share their work, especially if you're just starting out, or even if you're an expert and you just want to find really talented musicians. It's a great place to go. You're gonna wanna reach out the best way possible. I suggest using email, which is generally viewed as a more business inquiry or something a little more serious, and it won't get lost like a messaging app. You can also use Twitter DMs or, whatever kids are using these days. Like with all things, I think you should pre-write a draft before you actually send it out. What I like to do is open up my email and type it out before I put in the address, and that way you can't accidentally send a message you're not finished with. When writing the email, you're going to want to be as polite but direct as possible. You don't want someone to have to read a mile-long message, but you also want to make sure they know who you are and what you're interested in. My name is, your name, Panuganti, and I make progressive metal music. I was interested in your channel because blank. I really liked your song blank and the way you used blank technique. Let them know about your collaboration idea. If you just message someone and say, hey, want to collab? It sounds like you're asking them to start coming up with ideas. It's also important to consider the timing of it all. Now, you might be free every single day, but that person might work. You might be in college and that person might still be in high school. Very important that you accept collaborations will be harder to coordinate. That doesn't mean they're impossible, but you will have to be more open to coordinating times, maybe Skype or Discord calls, and you're gonna wanna make sure that they know that this collaboration will take however long you need it to take. Sometimes if you're in a hurry, I think it's important to be upfront. The deadline for this project would be, 1 week from now. I know that's a short, time, but is that okay? All right, now we come to a little bit of a split. Either they say no, or they don't get back to you, and you just move on. It's as simple as that. If they say yes, we go to step 3, plan it properly. Now, when planning your collaboration, you want to be direct, thorough, and you want to be polite, of course. You don't want to scare away your new collaborator. Why would you? So let's talk about all the important things that you might not be doing in collaborations. One of the hardest things to talk about in modern society, money. You should talk about how you're going to sell this song if you're making a song. Licensing fees. It costs $10 to license my song. Now, what if I wanted to budget the video? Say I would provide $50 for us to get wigs and costumes and dinosaur costumes, I don't know. Other things like Patreon. Maybe you use that service in order to fund your videos. When the video comes out and your collaborator doesn't get any money, how's that gonna be? Discuss royalties too. Sometimes people will use 2 different services. For example, if I worked with someone who's using DistroKid as a distributor and I use SoundDrop, then we're going to need to create accounts in the other place. Next, you wanna establish some pretty clear lines as to who is working on what. You might be an arranger and maybe you wanna play all the lead guitars. What if you're working with a lead guitarist? They wanna play too. So you're going to want to talk about these kind of plans. Maybe you should arrange together so that the music is divided equally and both people are being showcased the proper amount. It doesn't have to be 50-50, you just have to agree to it, and you are going to have to compromise. Other aspects could be like who's going to edit the video, who's going to make the album art, who's going to do this. There's so many different roles that can come up, especially in our niche of music videos. If you feel like you're not getting a fair balance, the easiest thing is to say, hey, I feel like I'm being overloaded with this collaboration. Do you think we could maybe shuffle around some of the work? Step 4, yes and. Now, for those of you guys who aren't familiar with yes and, this is kind of like an improvisational go-to rule of thumb, whatever you want to call it. It's a rule where you don't say no to anything. You've got to roll with the punches. And when you're coming up with ideas with your collaborator, you're going to want to say no to a lot of stuff. You're going to have to pick your battles too, but try saying yes and then supplying your own answer. Yes and, what if we add a bass guitar solo here? Yes and, what if I mix this part differently? Not everything is going to go right or go your way. But that's the beauty of collaborations. Someone else's way is going to take this collaboration from what it could be and make it something a little more different, a little more eclectic, and a little more better. In addition to the yes and rule, you're gonna wanna suggest just as much as you accept. You gotta hear as much as you say. And that way you can propose ideas, but you're also open to ideas. And that way the collaboration is going to feel more, honest and together. Not every collaboration is going to be a 50-50 situation. There's going to be times when I just want someone to play a part that's written, and I will leave much less room for writing or feedback or changes than I would if we were writing the song together or working on the product together. If that's the case, you have to be very honest and very direct, or else this can throw people for a bit of a loop, and it can be pretty uncool if you're just changing things around. Be upfront first, and that way no one's going to have the wrong expectation. Number 5 is communication, the last step. This is one of the most important aspects of working with anybody. You need to share feedback with them, especially in the process when you're just about to be done, or maybe you don't like a part they recorded or how a video looks. If someone sends you a video and says, your video's dark, that's not gonna help anybody, especially if they don't understand videography or why that's a problem. Share why it's a problem and maybe even how they can solve it. If you don't have time for that, just share, by the way, I noticed an issue, could you take a look at it? It looks like your video's too dark in comparison to the other clips, and it looks awkward. Describe the problem a little bit more. It's just a few extra seconds, and they're going to have a much better idea of how to fix it and why you want it fixed. But at least this way, you're coming off more constructive, and you can remember that you're just trying to get that person's best performance and create the best product possible. There you go, 5 tips on how to collaborate, and I think those are the 5 steps that mattered most to me. I want to thank the Pixel Mixers voice chat group who helped suggest a lot of these, as well as Subversive Asset, who asked about collab experiences a few months back. Now, I know this is just my experiences. I've collaborated a lot in the last 8 years, and I hope that the mistakes I've made and the things that I've done right will come across as positive and educational. You can check out my playlist of all my collabs at the end of the video too, and maybe you'll get a good idea of where I'm coming from. So leave me a comment telling me your best collaboration tip, or maybe your favorite experience collaborating with someone. Last thing I'm gonna say, of course, is if you've noticed, I'm wearing my official t-shirt that I just created for 2019. It's the Prog Metal Row t-shirt with a prog metal on the front and my logo by Blue Star Mako in the back. I hope you guys like it. You can get it at Teespring. All the money goes to supporting the channel, of course, but you already knew that. And it's in the description if you're curious, along with the quick short list of the tips and some of the other links I mentioned. Thank you guys for watching. Happy collaboration. Let me know your comments, all of that good stuff, and bye.